Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Sonia, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I'm so grateful I found you on YouTube. The last 5 years, my eyes have been opening to the confusion and fog I have been living in with my aggressive narc mother and covert narc older sister. The rest of the family are enablers and flying monkeys, so they really could care less about me, and the only real contact I have with them is through social media. I have recently gone no contact with my mother and sister. I wanted to give you a little background info. My mother married after she graduated high school to a man named Johnny, and he was an abusive jerk. She had my older sister 3 years into marriage, and then Johnny and my mother separated. While separated, she fell pregnant with me. She claimed I was Johnny's child, but it's all been a big lie. This lie has been kept within the family and away from me knowing about it for many, many years. I am 42, and I only recently, in the last 5 years, have been told some nuggets of truth. The story told is that my mother was contemplating abortion, but that my aunt and uncle talked her out of it. The reason for this is because I come from a very religious family upbringing and legacy. They always wanted to protect the family name and legacy. My uncle was an evangelist missionary, and my mother was a missionary as well. My grandparents worked in the church and worked many camp meetings and often hosted big name evangelists in their homes like Oral Roberts back in the day. So this was their meal ticket and reputation on the line. They couldn't have that destroyed. So, since she couldn't have the abortion, she decided that I was going to be a boy, even though she never had a sonogram, a blood test, or anything for that matter to prove it. All kinds of drama ensued once I was born a girl. She didn't have a name for me, so she had my aunt and my uncle name me. My aunt named me after her sister's little girl, sadly passed away from diabetes at the age of 3. So once my sister found out I wasn't a boy, she threw a fit and said that she did not want to even look at me. My mother claims there was some issue with blood transfusions when I was born because she is Rh negative and it caused a lot of problems with delivering me. But she never had that issue with my sister. Also, there was a fight that broke out in the hospital with Johnny's 3 sisters, and they pushed my mother to the ground while my mother was holding me. Finally, I found out that my mother forged Johnny's name on my birth certificate when I started kindergarten. Gotta protect that family name. Found this out when I had to have my birth certificate pulled around the age of 19 from the courthouse and saw there was no father's name on it. I was very overwhelmed with motherhood and at the time with an asshole myself, so I brushed it aside thinking how strange. My mother freaked when she found this out. She was all too happy when I ignored it. I decided to question this again in my early 20s, but when I did, my aggressive narc mother turned into the Hulk, spewing her vitriol through the phone, saying I was just trying to get attention and start drama with bringing it up. She and my sister shut me down quick, so I shut my mouth and never brought it back up again until I found the love of my life and got away from those psychos. My husband saw everything very clearly, and he has helped me so much in seeing the truth in my family. So in an attempt to get answers, I brought it up 3 more times to them. I asked Johnny while he was alive to do a DNA and if he was my father. He had to hang up the phone with me first, call my mother, then call me back to give me the answer. This bitch is going to take it to the grave. He passed away in 2014, and I felt as though that was it. But I found out that I could still get my DNA from my sister and mother, so I pursued it again. My sister said, I just feel like you're trying to find out you're not my real sister. And she told me that I needed to not bring anything up again because I was upsetting my mother about it. I have come to realize I am never going to get a DNA from these assholes, but I'm still going to pursue it. All you need is a hair strand. Just pop a hair. Take a hair out of their hairbrush. In 2014, my cousin told me that my mother had an affair with her best friend's husband while separated from Johnny. This makes sense since I was told that I was conceived around March, Easter of 74, when I was actually conceived around the end of May 1st of June 74. I also asked a close family friend of my mother about me not being Johnny's child, and she said that my real father was dead, killed in an accident, but that he was a businessman, jet setter, etc. It was a lie, I'm sure, but a nugget of truth as well. Yeah, I would say. Because of my backstory, I've been scapegoated, loser, redheaded stepchild, nuisance, problem in the family. My sister has always been the golden child, princess. She literally thinks she is a princess. I'm not kidding. High achiever, most likely to succeed. Put on a pedestal. Can do no wrong, holier than thou, winner of the family. I have certainly made my mistakes, and they have loved that because they can point their finger at me and say, look, see, I told you so. I've realized that I was always told who I was, so I just went with that, no matter how awful it was. I was constantly trying to please them, feeling undeserving, saying I'm sorry all the time, even when it wasn't my fault, and feeling like I was a total loser most of the time. I couldn't figure out why I have acted in ways that they wanted me to so many times, even though inside I knew it wasn't me and that it felt wrong, like I was rejecting myself to make them happy. I have been a people pleaser, doormat, and I have also acted aggressively in rage because I was so frustrated over all of it. I just discovered recently that is called projective identification and was shocked to find out this has been me most of my life. I never knew this was a thing that could happen, and it makes me so mad at myself for allowing it. It's hard to break the cycle when you have been programmed, conditioned for so long. Recently, I got the privilege of seeing a video of my 8-year-old self my cousin posted. When I saw this video, it broke my heart. In the video, I was sitting beside my sister being forced to sing with her and my mother, and I looked so insecure, nervous, and afraid. My sister sat there smug, nose in the air, and whoever was behind the camera was acting like they were in on the joke about me. They used to love to do that to me. They used to love to drag me and make me do things. And then they would act like they're having the greatest time in the world. But they knew the entire time it was just making me uncomfortable and unhappy. And that's where that anger and that rage and that feeling of being out of control and not having any control over anything in your life. That's where it all comes from. Every time I would go to sing my part, my sister looked up at the camera and would act like she was about to laugh her ass off with that smirk on her face. My 8-year-old self looked like I wanted to cry. I'm sure the reasons for my anxiety was due to the fact that my mother beat the shit out of me until I left when I was 17. There are so many stories of abuse, neglect I could share, but there's not enough time. It would literally take a book. From being left on the shoulder of a highway with my bottle and blanket countless times, to being beat with a rake on the porch while my family sat inside the house and listened, to being woken up at 3 a.m. on a school night to vacuum the floor with designs because I didn't do it right, to having my mother rip my room apart, mattress and all off the bed, and giving me 30 minutes to clean it up, or I'll be beat again, to be beat with a wire coat hanger on the stage in the church before anyone got there, to having CPS called on her and having to lie my ass off saying everything was fine so she wouldn't go to jail and ruin the family name. And that is just scratching the surface. Don't get me wrong, my mother abused my sister. In fact, I am sure they are turning on each other as we speak. But my sister is her angel and she always put her before me, and the abuse my sister endured was nothing in comparison to what I dealt with. Since I've been married, my mother has slowly backed off, even though she hired a private investigator to track us down when we wouldn't hand over our address or phone number to her. Thanks to the protection of my husband, she realizes she does not have control over me anymore, and she has only met our youngest daughter once. My oldest is who she's going after now. She is 24 and has her own little girl, but my mother is working on her. But my oldest has her own narc issues and can't be played. She learned well from them. Being a single mother and living with a family that controls you, they will control your child too. Unfortunately, this happened with my adult daughter, and I have to be very careful with her as well. I won't deny I am sure I have my narc conditionings too, but I am trying so hard to overcome them. I don't want to be like these people. I literally stay away from everyone except my husband, youngest daughter, and our dogs. I just don't really want to pursue any friendships because I don't trust people very much. Honestly, I don't feel like I am good enough to be friends with so much either. I'm afraid I'm going to do something to mess things up. Maybe I'm just nuts. I don't know. No, I mean, this is why most of us are introverts. Relationships become very, very difficult. And look, most people, they say if you have one good friend throughout your life, you're lucky. You know, we get stuck in the past where we're looking to have tons of friendships and tons of this and tons of that. It's not realistic. That's not realistic. It's because when you have your childhood stolen from you, you know, mentally you have to realize, you know what, I missed it. And the whole part of like these hanging outs and deep friend, it's not in the cards for us, whether it's family relationships, because that's obviously not in the cards for us. And trying to build like these deep relationships, friendship relationships, you know, into your 40s is really difficult because we're already set in our ways. And, you know, most people are pretty sketchy about bringing new people in our lives. Now, you put in a lifetime of narc abuse on top of that, you know, we got to make sure we're not looking at our lives as teenagers as well. Because that's what the narc will do. They'll keep us mentally in the mindset of a teenager, of a child. And we're still that insecure child, everybody's going to reject you, that we always were, that we were at 12, 13, 14. It seems since my mother has gotten older, she has passed the torch to my older sister. My older narc sister is very slick. She comes off as sweet and innocent to everyone and plays the victim card very well. But she is brutally attacking me through triangulation and flying monkeys with her smear campaign. She is extremely jealous of me and it has taken a few years to realize that. She wants me to adore and look up to her, but there is no way. She wants my life and story. It's as if she can't let me have my own identity. It's so frustrating. It's the whole anything you can do, I can do better on steroids. There has always been a huge competition going on, and I always have to be the loser, but I'm not. I excel at so many things she can't and knows it, and she hates it. I got married and had a wedding before her, and she threw a fit and nearly ruined it. It was horrible. She minimizes and puts down anything I love or am passionate about. She speaks for me and my family and paints the picture she wants to show to everyone. She is desperate to make sure everyone thinks I am that screwed up girl that was living in a small town looking like a loser, even though she damn well knows I'm not. She thinks if she can get the attention on me, everyone hating me and adoring her, then the focus won't be on her and they won't see what a loser she is. Yeah, that's what the golden child does. But like I said, she is still stuck in a teenage mindset. That's where your mother's abuse has gotten her. Both of you are stuck in a teenage competition. And they always want to keep us being the loser. That's what my brother tried to do to me, and it drives him insane. Because at the end of the day, she's doing this because your mother's driving her fucking insane. And she's trying to give her primary target back. The worst part of it all is that she is a know-it-all and seems credible. She has a college degree in psychology, is a Christian counselor and ordained minister, and she wants to work in marriage and family therapy and work with children. She has a series of books she is writing called The Princess Guide to Relationships or something like that. She thinks she knows it all. She tries to school me on my family and children. Really. She had 2 failed marriages and never had children and refuses to get a divorce from her latest husband out of spite because he moved on with another woman and had children. By the way, my mother is also a certified Christian counselor and ordained minister. I believe if my sister could push me out of my marriage and get my husband and children, she would do it in a heartbeat. My literal existence is a problem for her. I feel like her goal is to get me to talk and say anything about anyone so she can turn around and tell them. She truly thinks she is justified in that. Look, I'm from the South. You're supposed to be able to sometimes shoot the shit or gossip with your sister, but you are also supposed to trust them, to not go behind your back and tell the things you said. Well, she has done just that, making me look like a fool, and would I even dare say she has recorded me? So why would you keep her in your life at this point? But you said you're already no contact. So sometimes your mere existence is too much for the narcissist to handle. And that's what it is, what you said. Just your mere existence is too much for them to handle. Because your existence is an example that they're not good enough. So therefore, you must be destroyed. I never understood why when I met someone for the first time that was her friend or acquaintance, they always looked at me with judging eyes. Now I understand. I'm always being spoken for and no one really knows me because she wants everyone to hate me and love her. I think she hates me. Yeah, she does. She never got over you being born, really. Never got over you being born. Never got over you being born. Any attention that was taken away from her at your birth, that was it. That's what set her off, you being born. What do you do? What do you do when just being born sets off the narcissist? Because a lot of times that's all it takes. I get it. She started a blog with her book she is writing, and I was dumbfounded when I saw that she wrote that her father always favored me over her. Are you kidding me? Yeah, well, they'll also project the opposite just to drive you insane. She's probably trying to get you to kill yourself. That man didn't give a shit about me. He showed up for plays, graduations, football games, etc., and he never did that for me. He wouldn't even sign my damn birth certificate. Yeah, nice try, asshole. She wants to rewrite history and make everyone believe she is the victim of my abuse, and that I am a monster, horrible mother and wife. She wants everyone to believe that I am exactly like my aggressive narc mother, when in fact, she is like her. She has been on a smear campaign against me for years, and I have come to realize that this whole thing has been in the works for quite some time. I mean, talk about being calculating. This bitch takes it to a whole new level. Being isolated has been hard because she is able to tell all these old friends, some that I truly cared about, how much of a victim she is and how much of a gossip and monster I am. How can someone be a gossip if they never talk to anyone other than their husband and children? This is one reason why I stay isolated. I just don't have the energy for making friends right now. I feel like a loser, but I have to keep my circle tight and will only allow those who I trust. That circle isn't very big right now. Again, there is so much more I could tell you, but it would take me writing a book. Speaking of books, I think I may have to buy her book to see all the lies she has been saying about me. My last straw with them was when I found out that my husband and I were pregnant back in July of this year and unfortunately miscarried in August. I made announcements about both the pregnancy and miscarriage on Facebook for my friends and family to hear, but I heard nothing from my mother and sister. All I heard was crickets from them. But let me tell you what, 4 days after my miscarriage, my sister, who says she never gets on Facebook because it's all fake, posted that she had made 3 beautiful baby blankets and caps for someone to swaddle a beautiful bouncing baby in. She has never ever done this before. I don't believe in coincidences, and I feel this was done on purpose. Of course she is. Sure she did it on purpose. She's evil. She hates you. She hates you. So any opportunity she can use, she's going to use it. You need to stop putting your information out there. You know she's going to use the information, whatever information you're giving. You're talking to a spy who hates you. You're talking to a hostile spy. And you keep willingly putting your information out there for her to use against you. Hot stove. Hot stove's going to do what a hot stove does. It's going to burn you when you touch it. Also, my mother had the audacity to text me and say that my sister hadn't heard from me in a while and that I should call her. This was right after I had the miscarriage. Go fuck yourself. I'm not calling the princess. Fuck her. I'm done. I never knew two people could hate so much. I think the only one that ever truly loved me was my grandmother. If it weren't for her, I don't know where I would be. She passed away in 2008, and I had a dream of her the other night. I just remember her working, and I went up and kissed her on the cheek and gave her a big hug and told her thank you for everything you've done for me. I felt like it was her, or maybe my subconscious, saying it's okay to move on and leave the past behind. So with all that said, I'm hoping you might read this and first off tell me if I'm actually the crazy one here. No, I understand everything you're saying. I want your honest opinion. I do feel that way sometimes. You're only crazy. The only thing that makes you crazy is you keep giving a hostile entity information that you know they're going to end up using against you. That's what's the crazy part. You're not crazy. You're not crazy because because of what the narcissist says. You're crazy because your actions you're doing the same thing over and over again. Giving up information that you know is only going to be used against you. Putting it out there, knowing it's going to be used against you. You need to cut off everything from these people. I do want your honest opinion. I do feel that way sometimes. I often ask myself, maybe I'm the narc in all this. My sister says I have borderline personality issues and narc issues, just like my mother, because I can always remember ways I have acted out, poor decisions I've made that are cringeworthy. I just need some outside perspective on this. Things keep coming up for me every day, and I am triggered back to childhood memory that I desperately want to forget. I think it's all part of the process, though. I want to move on with my life and family. I want to have friends, but I can't seem to get my sister out of my head. I just want to know that I'm doing the right thing by going no contact and cutting them out of my life, and soon moving to another state. Yes, get the fuck away from them. Yes, get away from them. Distance, get away. I'm done, but I do have days where I feel guilty. Always hearing my family saying I need to take care of my mom and sister and that they are my responsibility now makes me want to run for the hills. Fuck that. They abuse you and now they want you to be their indentured servant? Are you insane? That's crazy. That would be truly, truly crazy. Thank you so much for reading this, Sonia Clark. Sonia, your story is so similar to so many people on here. Okay, just because you have, of course, you're going to pick up narc tendencies from being raised and being around these people. This narcissist hated you from birth, both your mother and sister. Your mother because you're a reminder of her being a dirty, dirty whore, a hypocrite whore. And your sister just for the general attention and new babe from the time you were born. Anything that takes away from the princess is a problem. They hate you both. Now, as far as proving your father wasn't who your father is, there's ways to do that. Okay, you should be able to get your Jim's medical records, his blood types. There's other ways to find out. You could use hair samples, saliva samples. There's other ways. I think you're just afraid to open up Pandora's box. You're still afraid of these people. What are they going to use? Your past against you? Everybody makes bad decisions as a kid. Growing up in this type of insanity, how could you not? Any decisions you made that they're using against you are a cause of their narcissistic abuse to begin with, so it's on them. You have no guilt. You have no guilt because the narcissist hated you from birth, period. So, thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I hope this helped. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or you'd just like to make a contribution to the channel in general to help it grow and survive, keep everything going, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. So if you like what you see here, you know what to do with the PayPal and email link in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.